Hello and welcome to Renew, the show about the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University. The College of Forest Resources promotes and enables the conservation, wise use, and management of our natural resources. I'm your host, Leslie Berger. Today's show will feature the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts, one of the 3 departments within the College of Forest Resources. And here to represent that department is Assistant Professor Tammy Franza. So thank you for joining us. I really do like the name Tamara, but I will call you by the name that everyone else does. So thank you for coming today. I know that you're very busy, but I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the work that you do in the department. So could you just give me, the elevator speech that we always talk about, the kind of work that you do in the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts?
Yes, thank you for having me today. And as you said, I am an assistant professor at the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts. And when we talk about sustainable bioproducts, people ask, so what is it? So we mainly work with wood, but we can work with any type of bioproduct. So, and specifically my area is biodegradation and protection of wood.
Good.
Okay, so wood is a biological material,
Right.
and is degradable also. So my job is actually to protect and make the product last as long as we can.
Right. So it's a fine line in there between having things that we can renew, reuse, recycle, and then also having it like rotting off your
Yes.
porch, like we were talking about this earlier. So we want to be able to have that sustainability. But it has to last as well. So your work, I understand, is in fungi and other kinds of
Yes, so
interpretations.
my work is basically trying to protect wood against fungi, termites, beetles, or any biological agents that attack wood. And actually wood for me is an amazing material because if you know how to properly use, and as we can show an example of a temple that was built in Japan. This temple is over 1,000 years old.
Oh my gosh.
It's the oldest wooden building in the world. And as you can see, if we know and if we properly use the wood, it can last a long time.
Right. Yeah, 1,000 years is a
Yes.
long time for a wood product. That's really amazing. People who might be watching the show are going to pick up on that you have an accent that's different from many people here in
Yes,
Mississippi.
yes.
So how did you come to be here?
Well, originally I'm from Brazil, and I grew up in the Amazon region in Brazil. So I was surrounded by trees, and actually my father had a sawmill there. So when I finished high school, I wanted to go to college and study wood science. And then during my master's, I had the opportunity to do internship at Forest Products Lab in Madison, Wisconsin. And that's where in a conference, I met Dr. Seal, which was my major professor, and I came to Mississippi State. So that's basically my link. It's linked to my childhood. Sure. I always had trees and wood around me.
And so really that idea of being able to sustainably use the forest in the Amazon is really, really timely because it's not always being used in that way. And so if we can get our wood products to last 1,000 years, it just reduces the need to be able to cut them down at the rate that we have been doing as a society.
Yes.
So that's really interesting. So you are a woman in a science field that historically has not had a lot of female representation. So how does that change the way that you approach your mentoring or your instruction or your research, or does it not really have any influence at all?
Well, I know we have this history, but actually at the Sustainable Bioproducts, we have 50-50 of our grad students are female and male. So you can see, and our department has a big diversity. So we have people from all over the world, and we are like well balanced between female and male. So in our department, we don't have this problem.
That's excellent.
But I see the challenge, and actually nowadays I see that more women are getting more and more space, especially in wood industry.
Yes, and historically that would have been a classic example of where there wasn't very much diversity at all. So it's very interesting to me that you say in that field that you have, and in the department, there is that diversity. And and just in scrolling through the webpage this morning, I was reminded of what an excellent diversity that is there. So how do you think that informs kind of the approach to sustainable bioproducts, then the research and the activity that's happening in that department?
So I think it brings a lot of knowledge. So since we have so many different people and so many from different countries, different culture, so I think it makes our department beautiful because we are more diverse, and I think it's enriched our research also, since we have so many different people in general thinking and bringing new knowledge from other places.
Right, so you're able to bring these different perspectives to
Yes.
solve these really complex questions that are out there. Well, I've enjoyed visiting with you, and I know your graduate student is going to be coming here to
Yes.
come back with us, so I will be interested to hear what she has to say.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a moment after the break.
Want a career as big as the outdoors? Want to have an impact on the environment? The College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University delivers hands-on training, ensuring clean air and water, wildlife habitats, and a sustainable environment. Creating new wood products and retooling old ones for today and tomorrow. Find a career in whatever path you choose. Majors in forestry, natural resource and environmental conservation, sustainable bioproducts, wildlife, fisheries, and aquaculture. Want a career as big as the outdoors? Choose the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University.
Discovery. It tells our history and determines our future. At Mississippi State University, we're digging deep, unlocking an understanding of our past, validating it. Middle East exploration by faculty and students is uncovering evidence that unravels ancient mysteries. Scholars have long thought of the biblical kings David and Solomon as mythological figures. Our research offers evidence that supports their existence, boosting MSU into an international league of experts on archaeology. Now we're changing the way people think about the past, opening up new possibilities of understanding for future generations. Digging deeper, learning more.
Hello and welcome back to Renew. Joining me now is graduate student Brianna Duquette. She's working on her master's degree under Dr. Franza. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are doing a master's degree in the Department of in the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts. So I assume that means you're doing a project that's related to some type of renewable energy or timber, given Dr. Franza's work. So tell me a little bit about the project that you're doing.
So I'm doing research on the evaluation of brown rot decay on the mechanical properties of wood. So what I'm specifically studying is perpendicular to grain wood. So here we have parallel to grain wood. So the difference is how it is cut.
See that? Mm-hmm.
So if you try to bend this piece right here, that's parallel to grain wood.
Right.
It's very strong.
Right.
And then here is perpendicular to grain wood, which I'm studying.
I feel so much stronger.
Yes.
I can bend wood.
So
right.
This is a lot, there's not as much research on this type of wood because we just assume, okay, it's really weak, so we know that.
Mm-hmm.
We try not to use perpendicular to grain wood, but it's actually used in a lot of L-joint connections or any type of connections in wood products. So.
Mm-hmm. So does the property of the wood, when it's cut in these different, from these different perspectives, these different approaches, does that change then its susceptibility to rot and the fungi that you were talking about before?
It does have a different susceptibility to rot. They're both the same type of wood, but the strength properties are a lot lower. So if you have the same amount of decay in both, you'll see an obvious drop in strength in the weaker piece of wood.
Okay, right. So how did you even come to be interested in questions like this?
I actually am a public health education. I have my bachelor's in that. And I wanted to get my master's degree, but I wasn't really sure where I want to go. And I was introduced to a researcher from the Forest Products Lab, and she told me about the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts, and I was introduced to Dr. Smolsky, the department head, and he showed me around, and I became fascinated with it.
Wow. So this intersection then between public health and sustainable bioproducts is an interesting one. Where do you see yourself going with this?
I like things like that benefit the environment. So that's where I see the sustainable part of wood, and public health education is the protection of public. So, you know, things like the leaching of protection agents into the soil that can possibly make the public sick. So things like that.
Right, and many people may not recognize there's real challenges to making wood last, 1,000 years, like Dr. Franzen was saying, because some of the chemicals that have been used in the past are a public health hazard.
Yes.
And so trying to find that balance of a product that you can apply to the wood that will retard its degradation to fungi or termites, but also do something that is not going to kill people that are using it or make them sick, is a challenge. And it sounds to me like that's where your interests will actually be able to intersect.
Yes. So that's what I like about the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts is you can have your own interests in it. The program you choose to do you'll be geared to more classes like that. So I'm interested in the environment. So my classes are geared more to just environmental. And then you have kids that are interested in the chemistry aspect.
Sure.
So all of their classes will be more geared to chemistry.
Right.
And then it all links together to wood products.
Right, which makes perfect sense.
Yes.
So we've got 30 seconds left, but where would you like to be when you finish this master's degree? What kind of position do you think you'd be looking for?
I'm looking to actually get my PhD here. So.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So you want to teach in a university setting, or do you want to be more involved with research, or this still that interface between public health and environmental science?
I think I'll want to do more of the research and hands-on instead of academia.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. I wish you the best. I'm glad that we got the chance to meet and visit and to learn a little more about the work that you're doing there in the Department of Sustainable Bioproducts. I hope the rest of you that joined us today learned a little bit more about what the College of Forest Resources is doing to try to educate the next generation professionals like Brianna here, but also to do so in a way that we can educate the public and sustain our natural resources. I've been your host, Leslie Berger, and thank you for joining us on Renew.